Blizzard just unveiled a brand new seasonal server called the Titan Reforge servers, but there's a catch and multiple twists. This is a China exclusive server. It's only for the Chinese player base. Now, Chinese players didn't get to experience Season of Discovery, they didn't get to experience MOP Remix, they were behind on a lot of things. They effectively had to just skip over everything. But see, the problem there is, we know they got to skip all this stuff, but the fact that they get an authentic new game mode just for themselves is kind of a travesty. Not for them, I'm really happy for the Chinese player base, and this Titan Reforge server looks amazing, but it's not for us. The likelihood that we might get an NAEU is low. It's not impossible, mind you. We know that the Classic devs are working on a big project, huge, Classic Plus, whatever the name will be. But this isn't that. This is their version of SOD, much more accelerated, and much simpler than SOD. Now, I'm gonna actually just dive into the server and what it really is, and it's interesting, right? So let's go right into it. During the 20th anniversary celebration in China, they announced this huge video, and in the video you had Ian Hazacostas, Holly Longdale. They did a whole new cinematic, which is mostly just a bunch of cinematics condensed into one new cinematic, and it looked amazing. And they explained a lot of things, all the different game modes they get, all the different methodologies and ways they get to play the game, and that China is catching up to the West, because you know, NetEase and Blizzard broke down negotiations because Bobby Kotick was like fuck you, and then NetEase was like no fuck you. And now Microsoft's like, let's not fuck each other, let's actually make good games together. So they made a new alliance, a partnership. But at this 20th anniversary celebration, they unveiled a lot of things, and one of those was this, the Titan Reforge server. Now initially when it was first announced, everybody was kind of off about it because the translations were off and the information wasn't as accurate as it could have been. But in the time since then, we've gotten a lot more information on what this actually is. As a player, you can face the Lich King wielding Thunder Fury or equip Warglaives to fight Kel'Thuzad and Naxxramas. Key features: permanent level 80 progression, unified raid sizes across all tiers, adjusted gear stats for older and lower tier raids, tier 3 sets restructured by spec, Season of Discovery style item redesign and tuning. So I'm going to break down each of these points one by one and explain kind of what that means. Permanent level 80. Every single vanilla, TBC, raid is all scaled up to level 80. Level 80 Molten Core, level 80 Blackwing Lair, level 80 Black Temple, level 80 Sunwell, level 80 Karazhan and Zul'Gurub. Every raid is now level 80. Unified raid sizes across all tiers. Now this one they haven't explained, but effectively we know it's 25 man for everything. There's no more 40 man raids here. This is 25 man. I don't know if the 10 man variant exists. I don't know if they're going to try to balance 10 man and 25 man with this kind of new seasonal structure, where they're trying to make every raid level 80, every item set redesigned. If they have to do 2 sets for every item, 2 different eye level brackets, I think it's going to be a lot of work. So I expect this to be just level 24. So I expect this to be just 25 man raiding period in the story. But I could be wrong there, so don't quote me on that. But it seems to be 25 man raiding only. Adjusted gear stats for older and lower tier raids. You can now go get a Thunder Fury and Molten Core, and it'll be level 80. You can now be a prop paladin tanking Molten Core. You can be a Blood Death Knight tanking Molten Core. Surprising enough, warriors are still gonna be the best class, #1 DPS the whole way through this experience. But on top of that, they didn't just adjust the legendaries and the top tier items, every single tier set. There's going to be new tier sets for the new specs like Blood DK, Frost DK, Unholy. There's going to be new tier sets across the board for every single spec and profession. Prop Paladin sets from Molten Core. Now they did say they're going to be doing new tier sets and like restructured tier 3 sets by a bunch of different things, but we don't know if that means every spec. Now I just said Molten Core, you know, redone, but that might be false. I don't know if they're going to go all the way back to Molten Core, if it's just going to be tier 3 upwards, because Molten Core and all of them might not be considered high quality raids for this experience, so they might not put that effort there to make that the high quality gear that we'd expect from a seasonal experience like this. And then like I said, tier 3 sets restructured by spec. They're just making sure that there's a Blood DK tier 3, there's a Holy Pally tier 3, a Prop Pally tier 3, Bear Druid tier 3, that's all good for every spec there and available and smooth for every class to transition into this endgame raiding experience. Then it says the Season of Discovery style item design and tuning. I already clarified this. They're going ground up and redesigning every single item for level 80. Some items will be better than others, some will be worse. The big issue here is that this is just one part of the whole experience. Based on what I've been told, China is very, very, very Wrath-centric. And I don't say this lightly, but Wrath of the Lich King is their favorite expansion. By a huge margin, it's not even close. Ulduar had 11 million logs by itself. 11 million logs. You guys might not understand that, but Ulduar in China had more logs than all of Dragonflight and Shadowlands combined. And Ulduar was expected to break 1 billion total logs. People don't understand how popular World of Warcraft is in China, and they really need to understand that World of Warcraft is a cultural experience there. If you go and watch that video, the 20th anniversary celebration, they have cities with, for example, Times Square style billboards everywhere with World of Warcraft, Mists of Pandaria, Wrath of the Lich King, Legion Remix. The advertising is so heavy and so supported and fondly looked upon in China for World of Warcraft that we in the West don't realize that we're the smaller audience. There are more Chinese players playing World of Warcraft than everybody else combined. And that's not even me with hyperbole. It's just a bigger audience. By far. Now, this is described as a raid rush experience. Wowhead went ahead and tried to translate everything. Again, there's been like 5 or 6 translations, so I'm taking what Wowhead's saying with a grain of salt. I'm sure they had somebody that can actually speak Chinese, translate it to the best of their ability, so it's probably slightly more valid than a bunch of other translations and websites. Like I said, it combines Classic, TBC, and Wrath of the Lich King into a singular game mode. All expansions scale to level 80. Players will speed through an accelerated leveling process, though Classic character transfers may also be available. Effectively imagine 100%, 200%, 300% XP boost. You're meant to level fast. It's meant to be about raiding. Each week, a different raid from across the 3 expansions will be available, conceptually similar to the Faded Season rotation in Shadowlands and Dragonflight. So that means week 1 will be Molten Core. Week 2 will be ICC. Week 3 will be Black Temple. Then week 4 is Ulduar. Then it's Blackwing Lair, AQ. Then you go to Karazhan. From Karazhan, you go to ZG. Then SSA and Serpentine Cavern and Tempest Keep. They're going to be alternating through these raids on a constant, fluctuating, and rather aggressive basis. A new raid every week completely fucks itemization. Assume this whole experience lasts, let's say, 18 months, right? Because it sounds like a fun experience, 18 months. Imagine an itemize, you don't know what raid tier is coming next. It's random. Completely and utterly random. I'm sure there'll be some form of schedule, but imagine trying to get Warglaves and Black Temple happens 4 times in 4 months. Imagine trying to reserve an item or a loot council in the system. Next to impossible. Now, China is far more GDKP friendly. It's a very big system there. So for those players, they'll just be swiping, spending money, gold, whatever, to get these items and these rates in the loot system. So it's not a big deal for them, right? But if this did come to the West, this would completely fuck up everybody's loot system. Soft reserve would be a nightmare. You would be getting wildly different gear. Your gear will look, you'll be a clown. Pure absolute clown gear. But it does sound really interesting. Now, I already talked about the 25-man raid size, down from 40. Again, no clarification on 10-man, so I'm going to stick with saying it's 25-man raiding only. All the gear, tier sets, and reputation will be updated suitable for all level 80 characters, providing the ability to wield Thunder Fury against the Lich King and Shadow Mode against Illidan Stormrage. But reputation will be updated as well. So I'm not sure if this means, for example, the Timbermore reputation. What reputations are they scaling to level 80 to make the flow better? They didn't talk about enchantments, they didn't talk about world buffs, nothing has been mentioned here. Just everything is Wrath coded, Wrath based, and taking vanilla and TBC up to Wrath of the Lich King with them. Now this all does come together to give us this weird, wild, wacky experience that's just incredibly fun looking and really cool, but it is Panda only. And as much as that sucks, I'm happy for the Chinese player base, but we in the West, being very realistic, are not going to be getting this because the devs are working on Classic Plus, Classic Azeroth Reborn, whatever you want to call it. But it's not going to be Titan Reforged Realms. I do not see them coming to NA or EU. And as much as that sucks, it's okay, so long as Classic Plus is the big, amazing thing it is, and they give us a teaser at some point, right? Gamescom is right around the corner. We already know that Legion Remix is coming out this year because of the Chinese thing saying Legion is coming out this year globally, which means Legion Remix has 5 months to come out. We have TBC Anniversary coming out, and it says TBC Anniversary is coming out this year as well. So just based on these metrics, it's gonna be interesting. This is a very packed year for everybody involved, right? Especially for the Chinese player base. But hey, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are you sad we're not getting this? Are you happy we're not getting this? Do you hope we get it? What do you hope the announcement at Gamescom really is? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching. Ebonheart out. Peace.